I would say more immigration, but we must build more houses.
All the propaganda about immigrants, almost all of it is wrong. Immigrant populations have lower crime rates than...
Why do people want to come to this country? Okay.
He wants cheap foreign labour to come across and do work that he thinks that the people in this country don't want to do. The illegal migrants can do those jobs for less money than...
Should the UK reduce immigration, increase it or keep it the same? What do you think?
I would have thought over time, definitely increase immigration. A lot of very obvious reasons why you would want to do that. Britain has got low growth rates. Maybe in many ways it's a tired society. Every society which has had high rates of immigration, that high rate of immigration is followed by a period of considerable prosperity, because what immigrants in general bring is initiative, ingenuity, drive, will to succeed, that in fact invigorate society. So every society, I think, that sort of gets paranoid about immigration, wants to push back on it, longer term is going to suffer very, very negative effects. So and the evidence is so obviously there, and all the propaganda about immigrants, almost all of it is wrong. Immigrant populations have lower crime rates than native-born population, just by way of example.
Thank you, sir.
So, should the UK reduce immigration, increase it or keep it the same? I think the first thing I would say about that is, why do people want to come to this country? Okay. The next thing I would say about that is, there are legal channels that are right for people to come to this country, and I have no objection to anybody who wants to come to this country by applying through the government legal channels that have been established. Okay? So then the next problem is, why do people come across the channel illegally and then expect this country to just look after them? Do you think that's right? Do you think that's right? That's the challenge I would put out. I'm not English myself, and I was racially abused at school in this country by children who have been in a religious school. So I do understand racial hatred, even though I'm European. I was racially abused at school, verbally. So, should the UK reduce immigration, increase it or keep it the same? My answer to that would be, no problem with legal immigration through the right channels, bringing people in to contribute to this society. But people who come here expecting a free ticket, free hotels, free meals, and all the rest of it, I think that's not right. So that's my personal opinion on that question.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. I'm going to ask, so the first question I want to ask you is, should the UK reduce immigration, increase it or keep it the same?
Okay, so I think immigration is a tough subject for many people, because a lot of people are saying too many people are coming into this country. But if you fly over the United Kingdom, it's mostly grass and fields. So if we build more houses, we can house the people. So the fact is, people are saying no immigration because there's a lack of space. But there's so much space in the UK that if you look over from the airplane down, fields. Why don't we just build houses to cope with the migration? For me personally, I believe in Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ had nowhere to live. He was an immigrant. He was born in a stable, and so I believe that people are entitled to a better place. If it is true that someone is leaving a war-torn country, that they should seek refuge. In the UK, it seems that the UK is a good place for people to come. But can you repeat the question again one more time?
Should the UK reduce immigration, increase it, or keep it the same levels?
Okay, I'll keep it on the question. I think the UK, with mass house building like they did in the 60s and 70s, if we continue building houses, increase immigration, because this is a safe place for people. This is a Christian country, and Christianity welcomes people. Okay, so I think increase immigration, but we must build houses. All the people who are unemployed, there are millions of people who are unemployed. The government should step in and start teaching people to build houses. Build houses and welcome the people. More immigration is fine, but they must understand that it's a Christian country, and that the Christian way of living is the best way to live. That's why people want to come to the UK, because it is a Christian country. So I would say more immigration, but we must build more houses, because it is difficult to house people when there's nowhere for them to go.
Should the UK reduce immigration, increase it, or keep it the same?
Yeah, I saw the questions on your board, and there's something that I heard someone say recently that inspired me to come and talk to you. So the person was Zach Polanski from the Green Party. He's the new leader of the Green Party, and he was on Newsnight, and he was talking about immigration and the illegal migrants coming across on boats. And what he said was that he doesn't like to wipe bottoms in the caring industry. He doesn't like the idea of himself doing that. So he thinks that the illegal migrants coming on the boats should do the wiping of the bottoms.
Wow.
So I think he wants cheap foreign labour to come across and do work that he thinks that the people in this country don't want to do. The illegal migrants can do those jobs for less money than British people are prepared to do.
It's reducing or increasing immigration. Like I said, it's a very controversial opinion. There's different viewpoints and different spectrums, and it's very. How can I say? It's a very, like I said, it's very controversial.
So, for far too long, employers have gotten away with importing cheap foreign labour to undercut the wages of British workers.
Thank you. Should the UK reduce immigration, increase it, or keep it the same? Let's start up with Andy.
Actually, I'll go further, because I'm inclined to think that the arguments that are being put forward now in some quarters about remigration are necessary now, because we've got to a point where before the camera started, I was saying when I was born in 1955, we had a fairly homogenous society ethnically. It was 98% white English in England, or what I like to say, white Northern European. That's the ethnicity. Now I think it's something like 73% English, with some Northern Europeans like Poles and Germans and those, bringing up the white population about 85. Now, every country is different. England, if you like, Britain, has had, as Sam pointed out, successive waves of migration throughout its history. Some of them extremely violent. You mentioned the Normans. Well, that was a small minority who replaced the ruling class and then went to persecute and slaughter thousands of people over the country until things settled down about 300 years later. So that's not a very good advertisement for migration or multiculturalism.
It's not, but that's not what's happening now, is it?
No, I'm just saying that you use that as an example. But
yeah, and what I was saying about that is we've had Normans and, from Norway and Celts, and we're as a population.
Because this is an argument that's often put forward.
Yes.
So if we note them, so if you go back to the Romans, now there were migrations before that. You had people like the Celts, the Amnaya, the Beaker people, that stuff.
No, okay.
Let's start at the Romans. They basically Celtic. That's Northern European peoples who, since their culture has been pushed to the western fringes, like Wales. The Romans came and went. They stayed for about 400 years. They didn't leave a huge impact, either genetically or linguistically. They built some fine roads and set out some cities. Great. And then, after that period, when the Roman authority left, the country was open to immigration from basically around Northern Europe, so that's why the Anglo-Saxons turn up. Yeah. And again, it was a kind of filtration of people, and they tended to be wealthier, they tended probably more warrior-like, they replaced the existing ruling class who were pushed out. Then you had the Scandinavians, that was very warlike. Yeah, for about 200 years. 100 years. And then you had somehow one of our greatest leaders, King Alfred, defeated the Danes, made peace with them, turned them to Christianity. And so by that time, the genetic mix of England was pretty much set as Northern European, Anglo-Saxon, Celtic and Scandinavian. Then we had the Normans, who I referred to before. They conquered the country. They replaced the ruling class again. They slaughtered a lot of people during that period of establishing their rule. And for 200 or 300 years, the kings of England spoke French, basically. They were French. They saw them as that part of the culture. They merged eventually. Since then, the biggest is probably the Huguenots, who were expelled from France in the 17th century because they were the wrong religion.
I'm descent of.
Oh, you're great. I mean, this is the point.
And this goes to show, and we are indistinguishable, and I think that is the same as what is happening with the current migration.
No,
just because they look slightly different.
Very different.
We all look very different, actually. The English population has always looked very different because of the different culture, ethnic. Identity is very different to a nation such as Japan, for example, which is very ethnically homogenized, and they do look similar for that reason. But English people, you get a wide range of faces, and for me, that just shows that ethnicity doesn't really matter to nationality for me. I think culture matters to nationality, and that's why anyone really can come in, can adhere to the culture. We don't want too many people coming in, I don't think, because then it's going to be...
Many?
Well, I couldn't put a number on it. I'm not a politician. I don't know how many would be, because we've got to balance the line between what's good economically and what would tear the fabric of the nation apart by having too many cultures.
So you're agreeing with some of my points?
But what I'm disagreeing with is that ethnicity matters. I think anyone can come in here. We're all mentally the same, and anyone can come in and help to grow our culture. For example, national dish of the UK, obviously, tikka masala, isn't it? Or is it a vindaloo? I can't remember. But it's a curry, basically. Anyway, they've enriched our culture. You go to places in South London.
I don't like curry.
I love curry. So, anyway, but that's just a personal preference, isn't it? And you go to places in South London. You get some amazing restaurants that just, and then like jerk chicken becomes integral to our culture, I think. And just these other cultural institutions become part of us and enrich our culture while we also keep our own culture.
So you've given the curry argument for multiculturalism,
yes, I have.
And that's it. That's your prime argument. Now, against that, I'd say that Northern Europeans have created one of the greatest set of cultures the world has ever known. You think about our language, our music, our cathedrals, our social organisation, our governance, these things, the science, the technology we've granted to the world.
I would say you'd say that because you are a Northern European.
Well, I'd say it's objectively true. We've given the world the ability to get out of peasantry, slavery, all that sort of thing. We spread it around the world. Now you have countries, bless them, like China, Japan, who are building on that, and they're becoming powerhouses of technology.
Why do you
whilst we sink, because all civilizations rise and fall. Yeah.
You're saying that we as Europeans have been able to eradicate slavery across the world, which is true, which is amazing that Europeans have done that. I would say that's more because we as Europeans are perfectly placed on the map to bring in riches from across the world, become very rich ourselves. I don't think that's got to do with how good our culture is, or the culture has been sort of created by our richness, right?
Well, it was only specific countries within Europe that, sort of pushed this spurt of scientific and technological advance and exploration in the 18th
they've
century.
Also done that. Before that, they did it in the Middle East.
And then I'm saying all civilizations rise and fall, but the Middle East, a lot of countries are sitting on vast quantities of oil, for example. Which what are they using for lighting mosques. I mean, nice, but there are many other uses.